Hey guys, Zach here, digging through the bin of internet stories, and today we're finally going to test out, can you actually repair your bushings on your car with window weld? All right, for those of you guys that are unfamiliar with window weld, what it is, it's a 3M product. It's essentially liquid polyurethane that's used, literally it's window weld. It's used to install windshields in your car. It's kind of a hard enough rubber that is flexible enough that it won't, you hit a bump and the windshield won't crack or whatever. But anyway, somebody found out that, hey, if I, coat this on my rubber bushings or my motor mounts or whatever, it'll stiffen it up like a polyurethane type bushing without having to spend all the time to actually replace it with something like a Power Flex bushing. You guys have seen those, the purple or yellow bushings that they have out there, control arm bushings and stuff like that. That really make the car feel a lot better. Now on this particular car, this is my E46 wagon, the front control arm bushings, they're kind of a pain to replace. So unlike every other rear wheel drive BMW pretty much, that you just have two bolts, new bushings slide on, bolt it back up, you're good to go. With something like the wagon here, the control arm bushings are actually on top of the subframe. So you have to lower the subframe just a bit in the front, unbolt the control arm brackets, control arm bushing brackets, and press out the old bushing, press in the new bushing, put it back on the subframe, bolt everything back in. It's really kind of time intensive. So the hope is that you could squirt a little polyurethane in there, have that harden up just enough to take up the slack in those old failed rubber bushings, and you're good to go. Now, why people think this is a good kind of performance upgrade for your car is the fact that the Shore rating, or the Durometer rating for window weld, is something like 55 to 60 as far as hardness. Now if you look at the Power Flex yellow bushings, I think they're probably somewhere around like 70, maybe 75 for hardness, so it kind of gives you an idea of what this will feel like after it's hardened up. So when you take a step back and you look at that and you say, okay, I can stiffen up that stock worn rubber bushing by just getting a caulking gun and squirting some of this in between the bushing. Now, the problem that you'll run into, this of course not a BMW bushing here, is the fact that the bushing, the rubber bushing here, is not see-through. You can kind of see that there's a recess there for it, but that's about it. So when this bushing fails, you get a whole bunch of slop in between that and the bracket here. So if we were to go through and just kind of squirt some polyurethane around here, it might stiffen it up a little bit, but the fact of the matter is you don't really have a very good adhesion between the window weld and this rubber bushing, and over a short amount of time that polyurethane is just going to kind of peel away from that, then you're going to have the same problem again. Now on this particular car, the bushing that I thought we would try out is actually the transmission cross member bushing, transmission bushing, transfer case bushing. It's pretty much all the same. I'll post a little photo here so you guys can see it. But the design of this particular bushing is see-through, so that means we can inject the urethane on one side and have that spill over, and then we can inject it on the other side and kind of get like an hourglass shape, so that polyurethane that we inject in there, it's going to stay in there. It can't peel off one side to the other. And this particular bushing is very difficult for an average DIY person to do. So we have a chance to, for about 30 bucks, squirt some polyurethane into this particular bushing and could potentially save ourselves a couple hours worth of labor trying to replace this bushing. But for right now, let's get it underneath the car. Now the reason leaving it on the car is a better idea is you do need a special tool to press this particular bushing out, and again, it's not terribly expensive, but to get to it, you got to cross brace, drop the exhaust, and on top of that, you're still very close to your transmission pan here. Just not very fun to do, and being again that this is such a high mileage car, it's got to get done. We are noticing a bit of vibration on acceleration. Rear U-joints are good, center support bearing, the guy bow, all those things, motor mounts have all been replaced not too terribly long ago, but this is the one piece of the puzzle that was not replaced. So today we're going to see if we can window weld this bushing and solve our vibration on acceleration issue. So the first thing we're going to do is just going to hit it with some brake clean. Right, now I definitely don't recommend going around spraying all your bushings with brake clean. It's definitely not good for the rubber. But in this case, we want to make sure that the surface is absolutely clean, dry, free of any grease or anything like that to let that polyurethane adhere to that bushing as best as possible. Now the other key takeaway on this particular bushing is that it's open from one side to the other. There's enough space for that polyurethane to be injected in and meet up on the other side, so you've got kind of an hourglass shape for the polyurethane. It'll keep it from falling out. Now, if you've ever looked up bushings that people have done online with window weld and maybe they didn't have as much success, is normally due to the fact that they're just kind of pasting it to one side of the bushing, maybe the outside edge of the bushing, and over time it just separates from that rubber and fails. So I think in this particular case, this bushing is going to give us the best chance of seeing if this repair actually works. Now, if you guys choose to go this route, to turn your car into a race car by injecting some of this window weld into your bushings there, the biggest thing I got to suggest is get yourself a halfway decent caulking gun. This particular caulking gun I think was like 6 cents. As you can see, the trigger's folded under there. For this particular bushing I went with the $10 version here, but it's definitely a much more rugged feeling caulking gun, and hopefully it'll allow this kind of thick urethane to actually squeeze out before it blows up. Alright, so we've punctured the top of the window weld here, and now we're just going to fold the cap on, screw that on there. Make sure you remove the metal cap at the end of the tube here before you put it in the gun. Now I'm actually kind of excited about this as well, because I've done bushings like this in the past, but I'm actually excited to see if it's going to save me a whole bunch of time on this particular bushing. So you can see we totally filled in that bottom portion of the bushing there, so much so that it's just starting to come out the backhand side. And again, I'm just going to put the caulking the whole way around here, and then we'll try to smooth it out, make it look all nice, and come back and show you guys what it looks like after it's done. Alright, so there you go. The polyurethane is injected all the way through on both sides, and just kind of gone through and smoothed it out with my finger there. But I gotta say, it's incredibly easy to I guess polyurethane reinforce your stock rubber bushings. And then again, here's the backhand side of that bushing. You can see the urethane's gone all the way through the whole way around. Alright, so my review on the application of 3M window weld as a polyurethane bushing saver. I gotta say, I understand the appeal, because I mean the bushing for the most part sitting right there. Cut the tip off the tube here. Crank it in until it comes out both sides. I mean, it literally took about 5 minutes to do. I'll definitely spend more time editing this video than it took to shoot the video here. But again, I'm going to throw in some video at the end of this to see if it actually solved my problem, my vibration on acceleration here. But if this works out like I hope it will, I'll definitely make sure to post below. Click on the links down there, helps out the channel. And I don't know, I got some pretty high hopes for this, but again, some of these urban myths float around even if they're terrible. So, I don't know, roll the footage of me saying if this is good or not. That's so crazy! Window weld as a bushing replacement works. Going up this hill, accelerating, it always has shaken under load. Now I know you guys can't tell because we've still got the remnants of the frost eaves here on the pavement, but I would say 90% of the vibration, maybe even 95% of the vibration on acceleration, gone. We still have like 3/4 of a tube of window weld. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to check back on the blue race car, the E36 build. I think some of the bushings we put in there had space, open space on them. So we might have to do a blue race car polyurethane, I don't know, upgrade or whatnot. That's crazy. This is bonkers. It really is. It's gone. It saved us at least a couple of hours labor replacing that bushing. Gone. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so it turns out window weld did work for me. So if you guys want to give it a shot, I'll put the links below there. Click on them. Helps the channel out. And guys, if you haven't done so already, click that like button, that subscribe button. Help the channel get to 100,000 views. It'd mean a lot to me. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.